Well, we finally made it. A little bit of a delay. We had some problems, but here we are. The season finale episode of the Duke Football Talk Section 17 podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Kennedy, and joined by my co-host and special guest. We got the big dog, Scott Medlin. Let's see if I can get it right this time. There we go. We got Jamie Holt. We got Josh Cox. And right in the middle, we're like the Brady Bunch tonight, folks. We got the man himself from the Big J and Little J podcast, one Jordan Mann. We've got a lot to talk about in this season finale episode. But before we do, guys, as always, one last time before the season ends, we got to pay the bills. We got to thank for the final time this season, one Matt Bliven. Matt is in the Durham area. He's a Durham native. He would love to help you with all your realty needs. He was part of our ticket giveaway for the entire season. He was with us down in Jacksonville. We had a great time with him down there. And we're hoping that fingers crossed, guys, he re-ups with us for the 2025 season. I don't have the information in front of me. Sorry. It is what it is. But if you do want to reach out to Matt for any needs, buying, selling, investing, let us know. We'll be sure to get you in contact with Matt. So, Matt, we thank you again for sponsoring the ticket giveaway. I dropped the ball at the 1 yard line.
I got it, guys. I got you, Brian.
Josh picked it up at the end.
I'm picking up the fumble. I'm about to go in for a touchdown.
Appreciate you.
MLB at nestrealty.com. MLB at nestrealty.com. See, I actually listen to Brian give the spiel every week. And we also don't want to forget our other two Hellraiser sponsors, Home Field Apparel. Brian is rocking currently the Home Field Apparel crew neck. They are your one-stop shop for vintage gear. If you head to homefieldapparel.com, you can use code Section 17 and receive 15% off your first order. They've got some really cool things going on, and so make sure you head over there and get some really comfortable, actually, as well, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, hats. They got it all. So homefieldapparel.com, use code Section 17, and then we want to thank our final Hellraiser sponsor, Hometown Air. We're in the middle of winter, and I know this past week we got a little glimpse of the 60s and maybe even peaked to 70. But cold weather is still here. If you're having issues or need service on the residential side for HVAC work, Hometown Air is your go-to source in the Triangle. Over 25 years of experience, their team will set you up they would love to set you up on a service contract where they make sure that your systems are running smoothly throughout and efficiently throughout all 4 seasons of the year. You can find out more information by visiting hometownairnc.com or by calling them at 919-568-3212. Lights are officially on.
For one last time for the 2024 season. Well, we've got a lot to get to. We saved your mailbag questions from last week. We had a little bit of an emergency situation right up there. Yep. Thank you, Jordan. That guy right there. He was the one that threw the wrench in the system, but we wanted to make sure we had as many folks on here for the season finale. So we got the mailbag. We've got a season prediction winner from all the stats. We already went over who won between the 5 of us, but which one of you won this beautiful icy white Section 17 helmet? We'll get to that later on, but we got to talk about the bowl game, the Gator Bowl game, really quickly. I know it has been a month since we were in Jacksonville. Unfortunately, the outcome did not go the way Duke fans wanted, as Ole Miss, they dropped the hammer on your Duke Blue Devils, but we were all there. We had a great time. So, fellas, really quick, I know it's been a month. We've had time to digest all things Gator Bowl, but just final thoughts on the 2024 season as well as the Gator Bowl itself. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I don't think we went over who won between the 5 of us.
I thought we did.
Oh, I wonder who. I was about to say. I wonder why Jamie.
Oh God.
I'm pretty sure we did not. Like I don't remember saying.
No one cares. So Gator Bowl, go.
That's fine. But yeah, the Gator Bowl trip was fun. The trip itself was great. Brian got to experience all the emotions that is Jamie driving on I-95 heading into Jacksonville, missing different turns and having to go like 8 miles out of my way to get back to the house and everything else. But everything leading up to it. The tailgate was great. It was a lot of people at the tailgate. Got to see some old friends, John and Jerry from back in the day. Got to meet some new people that I hadn't seen at tailgates this year. We got to meet the Duke of QP. That was awesome. Getting to meet the Duke.
Shout out his hoodie.
Yeah.
He had his logo.
Yeah, that hoodie was
on
awesome.
his hoodie. Yeah.
Then everything leading up to the game was great. The game itself, not so much. Jackson Dart, as advertised, that dude's good. And a lot of people are saying he's the second best quarterback in the draft right now, but we'll see, I guess. I guess he was doing some pretty impressive things down in the Senior Bowl practices or whatever they're having. So a lot of people are saying he's the second best QB in the draft. He was definitely good, and I could see that Lane Kiffin was definitely also trying to run the score up on Duke after having his issues with NCAA. But once again, all in all, great trip. Enjoyed it. Would love to go back to the Gator Bowl sometime. It'd be great. Just maybe with some more starters and less. I mean, look, Ole Miss was probably the best 9-3 team in the country. I mean, if we're being honest, right? I mean, they probably were. So I hate to admit that. Duke got to 9-3. That was great. 9-4 season's great, but we didn't play the best schedule in the world. That's all I have to say.
All right. 10 minutes later.
But quick thoughts. Yeah, good job, Jamie.
I agree with everything Jamie said. I don't know if there's much to add to it. But really good turnout from the Duke fan base. I felt like in Jacksonville, I think the stadium was close to 50-50 as far as the fan base. It may have been 60-40 to Ole Miss. And credit to them. I mean, they were really good. They played a great game. Henry, I felt like he did as good of a job as he could. There was a couple of times in that first half where you felt like if Duke could have gotten over the hump, whether it was the Terry Moore, like return that thing for a touchdown, or whatever it was. There's a couple of, key plays there where we didn't, take advantage of them, and then in return, Ole Miss did. But yeah, other than that, 9-4. If you would have told every logical Duke fan back in August that this Duke team was going to go 9-4, will you take it? Every single logical Duke fan would say yes, and probably including those within the program. So overall, good season.
Yeah, it was a blast for me. Came down there with you guys. You guys were great, and it was awesome being a guest. Brian, I'm waiting for the next time you introduce me. Maybe I could be a very special, like a very, very special guest instead of just special guest. I think we're on that level now. But yeah, it was awesome. Tailgate was great. Met a lot of Duke fans. Had a great time with the Duke fans. Bayou Blue Devil had the best drink for me the whole tailgate, so it was great. And then Terry Moore, when he had the interception, I blacked out, and I assumed he scored a touchdown there, and then the game ended. There was like a lightning delay or something, and they just canceled the rest of the game. I think Duke ended up winning, and that was about it. It was a great environment. Vibes were high, and Duke doesn't need to hold their heads down or anything because 9-3 going into that game, and it was just a phenomenal atmosphere.
I was sitting right beside Jordan. I can promise you, when Terry Moore caught that ball, he was as crazy as I've been all season about stuff. He was excited and he was pumped. And honestly, I thought he could go all the way. Fortunately, he didn't. But yeah, great opportunity. We had a great time. Got to meet some people. Had a great time with the group. I mean, our whole crew went down. Had a really good time for the 2.5 days we were there. I got to experience some things we hadn't done before. Got to hang out. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be yelling. Forgive me. I'm half deaf, so. But, funny things about the games and how they work. Alex Howard misses a pick that would have been a touchdown. The same exact play, almost the same exact position on the field. Ole Miss grabs it and runs it back for a pick six. So, things did not go the way Blue Devils wanted it to. I thought the guys did great. I think Henry did a great job for a guy who's only started one game in like 3 seasons. They did a great job managing it. I would have liked the trickeration play where Samir ran the kickoff back. That was great. Enjoyed that. I was glad to see something like that happen. But hey, 9-4, great season. Duke fans traveled. It was a lot of fun. Now we got to go start doing it again here in August, all over again.
August. What about April? Spring games, big dog.
Well, I mean, that was kind of understood unless you're Matt Rule. Matt Rule doesn't like a spring game.
True. Yeah, I just echo everything the guy said. I will say, if you guys did not see, I don't know if any of us posted, we stayed at a very cool VRBO or Airbnb, whatever we booked. I think Josh found it actually. It was a Super Mario themed house, and Jordan actually went down the slide of the Bowser Castle and about went through the closet wall. So that was interesting, but we had a great time. Both photographers were there with us, Laura and Tyler, producer Tyler as well. And overall, again, the experience was great. Jamie just was arguing with his GPS the entire time, which was fantastic. And it was even better when I was like, Jamie, you're supposed to go right here. No, I'm supposed to keep going this way. Jamie, I'm telling you, you needed to go. No, we're going to go straight. And as soon as he goes straight, the GPS would be like, turn around. And words would fly. Twitter Jamie would show up. So Tyler got to experience that at one point with us, but it was epic. Me and Jamie drove down together on the way down there. But we just had a good time. We found a gas station that we all seem to love right around the house. Kidding on that. Luckily,
My God,
yeah.
I thought I was gonna die. I thought a video game of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was gonna break out. Like, jeez, that was a scary moment in my life. I'll just leave it at that.
Jamie was looking to pick up hookers apparently off the at the gas station, take them behind the.
Yeah, is there
the
like
building.
an app? Is there like an app for that, Jamie? I'm not sure how you find those places, but
Yeah. But it was those were the memories that were made from the trip. And then of course we show up to the pep rally that lasted all of 3 minutes. So I don't know if that was a Gator Bowl error or we'll just leave it at that. But game didn't turn out the way it could have, but overall, I think as Josh said, to finish 9-4, to yet again silence the naysayers all season long for the third straight year. Just got to look ahead now to 2025. And with that, we will move on to our mailbag. And as always, you fans did not let us down. We asked for questions last week before we had to change the schedule around, and we have another hefty mailbag. So, Jamie, please go ahead and get us rolling.
One more thing I thought I'd mention too. Brian and Tyler also had the pleasure of getting their asses kicked in Mario Kart.
No, wait. Time out. To be fair, Jamie's that guy where is there anything we need to know about this game? No, just play, just drive. And then proceeded to like with Mario Kart 8, you pick different tires and body setups and everything. And Jamie, of course, knew the perfect setup to beat our asses, as he said. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I watched YouTube videos and stuff. No. All right, so we're going to start off with some schedule talk. Brian Owens off of Facebook wants to know, is it too early to talk 2025? And that's, never. It's already 2025, so we can talk 2025. He said, now the schedule is out, here are some things that I like. He said, all games on Saturday, which that is nice. Chapel Hill College being toward the end of the season again. That was another, what was it, like the second to the last game of the season? And he said, things I don't like. Only one home game between weeks 5 to 11, and state being the first conference game. And he says, what say you guys?
Well, I was the only one that was actually watching the schedule release show and was getting blasted by my peers on this screen. I was just trying to stay in touch. Very, very surprised that this Duke team will only have one home game, as Brian mentioned, from the Syracuse game all the way to the UConn game November 8th. I've never seen that before. That could either be really good for Duke because there's 2 bye weeks within a 3-week span, or it could be really rough because Duke goes at Syracuse, then they go directly to at Cal. Luckily, they have a bye week, home to Georgia Tech. So Duke fans, if you want to see Duke play in Wallace Wade from the end of September to the middle of November, that Georgia Tech game is going to be the only game you see them in Wallace Wade. And then after the Georgia Tech game, another bye week, and then Clemson and UConn. What we've seen from UConn especially, they come on late in the season, and that game is up in Connecticut. That could actually be a tough game for Duke next year if Jim Mora brings the team that he's brought in the last couple of years. But guys, I don't mind State being the first conference game, because all we see on Twitter, and I still don't get it, is State fans unmercifully coming after Duke and Duke's football program. And let's just get that game out of the way, get the third win in a row, move on. State, thanks for playing. See you later. But even our non-conference, other than Elon, you've got Tulane, where a certain quarterback's coming up from Tulane to play for Duke. Then Illinois. Some preseason polls have Illinois in the top 10 to start the season. That is going to be a premier game. So while the scheduling and how the games fell doesn't go in Duke's favor, you just never know with this team and this coaching staff.
I would say this too, in the day and age in which we live, it's really hard to predict what these teams are going to look like. The second portal window is not even opened yet. I mean, look, we all sat in there, during the summertime and talked to FSU and Virginia Tech and NC State. Those were three teams, even after the second portal window, right? Heading into the season, we're like, these are going to be three of the top teams in the ACC. Just didn't happen. And so, like, a lot can happen in Illinois. There could be a mass exodus after spring ball. Guys don't like where they're at on the depth chart, whatever it could be. So, it's very tough. Tulane, as you mentioned, Darian Mensah now at Duke, and then not only that, but they're tight end. They're tight end one, they're RB1, wide receivers. There's others that have gone there. So there's been a mass exodus there at Tulane. No idea if they're going to be competitive as they've been the last, couple of years. And so it's very tough to say. I will say, I agree with Brian on this 100%, that, like, from the perspective that we have right now in the very beginning of February, looks like a very difficult schedule. Duke goes to Clemson, which is going to be a lot of fun, right? I mean, that's awesome. But Clemson is, knock on wood, they're back, right? So not only did they have a good season, but they also did well in the transfer portal, which is something new, for Dabo. And so maybe you're seeing, Clemson become or wanting to stay relevant in this era of college football. And so, anyway, I think the ACC games, similar to this season, you're going to have your toss-ups, right? You're going to have, you don't know what Virginia is going to bring to the table. Georgia Tech is going to be a tough game. Syracuse is good. NC State, who knows? Like, it's going to be different than last year because they're not going to come in with all the hype. But all that to say, winnable games, but also, losable games. So, and Duke's not going to have the luxury of, like, a guaranteed 4-0 in non-con like they've had the last year or two.
Yeah, I agree with you, Josh. It's difficult schedule. If I was Vegas right now, I would say Duke's over/under wins is probably like 5.5. I would maybe 4.5.
Brian, geez,
I know
said 3.
Brian said 3. That's
hey, I'm just in line with what everyone said for the last 3 years. So let's just keep it going, because I need to win some money back from Vegas.
Maybe even 4.5, because look, Wake Forest might be a toss-up game that people might view because the max exodus that happened. But most Wake fans probably say it's a good thing because they just got Washington State's whole team in the portal with their head coach. And so that's now going to be an interesting matchup. There's no more slow mesh. So it's just like this schedule, man. And then Virginia, we know what Tony Elliott's been there, but I like what they got in the portal at quarterback from, I think, Chandler Morris, something from North Texas, and he lit it up for them. So that's a team that's going to be exciting to follow for the ACC. The ACC as a whole definitely upgraded in the first window of the portal, including Duke. And then, like Josh said, now here comes the spring portal window. Who's going to leave? Who's going to stay? Everywhere across the ACC. And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the teams are going to be. I mean, obviously, I'm interested to see what's going to happen 8 miles away. By the way, it's a great day to be a Blue Devil if you didn't already know that after last night. So just wanted to,
what happened last night?
The team from Chapel Hill came over. They got down by about 30.
Tennis? Men's or women's tennis?
I didn't see which one it was. I know the tennis team was there because I saw them on TV a couple of times.
No, we can acknowledge basketball for that game because that was a beat. That was a 17-point beat down that should have been 27. So
easily. But yeah, so get a chance to play them again. Again, Carolina fans think that, the Lord and Savior Bill Belichick is the man over there. We'll see what he can do coaching basketball and football next season. But other than that, I mean, it's going to be an interesting year. I'm excited about the Clemson thing, especially if we go. If we don't go, I don't know if I'm as excited about it. But if we are able to take the trip, then heck yeah, sign me up. I don't care if they win by 50. It'll be an interesting trip. It'll be a fun place to go. One more place to mark off the list. But yeah, brutal 8 weeks there where you're only home one time. I mean, you kind of, in all honesty, it's almost like you're going to be getting separated from football for a little bit there, especially if you don't travel. If you just stay at home and watch the games, you're going to be like, well, oh, that's right, Duke's playing today. I forgot about it. Some people are like that. So, but hey, you got to play what they put in front of you. Duke's not going to get any love. I don't care what they say, and that's fine. I would rather be the underdog, the people that don't get love, and then during the middle of the season be like, oh, crap, Duke's good again. We didn't know that. So that's what they've been doing the last 2 or 3 years. So, hey, I'm okay with it.
And unfortunately, we got to go to Chapel Hill in that trash stadium. Keenan, golly, what a piece of shit.
I will say, I don't mean to interrupt you, Jamie, but I read initially, and I sent it to the guys, that UNC was going back to natural grass in 26. Yeah, I said it. Sorry. Actually, I read today from the alumni page, it's going to be before this season starts. So that's an advantage for Duke as well, heading to Chapel Hill, playing on natural grass instead of artificial. So,
all right. One other thing I was going to mention too, that Syracuse, when we go to Syracuse, and then the next week we're at Cal, and we talked about this before we got on. I was kind of wondering what Duke does there. Like, do they come home from Syracuse, or do they fly from New York and go straight to California? That'll be an interesting decision, because that's a hell of a lot of travel for 2 weeks. Next question at TS Lester _. He says 8+ wins 3 years in a row. With our schedule next year, he thinks 8 and 9 will be far more challenging to get to 8+ wins 3 in a row is what he's saying. But what I think is the standard is changing. Would you agree it's bowl game or bust, especially with the influx of young talent coming in? He's eyeballing, he says, 2026, 27 for a big year. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's reasonable at this point to think bowl game or bust. The schedule is going to be very tough, obviously, but I mean, I think it's reasonable to think that Duke can get to 6+ wins. I mean, every year for the most part going forward, barring some like major injuries or stuff. Like, obviously shit happens, but
yeah. None of the locker room leaders left from last year. I mean, let's QB, whatever. I think that Duke is confident they're upgrading at QB significantly. None of the other locker room leaders are leaving. There's not a ton graduating. And I would say that this Duke team expects to go 9 wins again this coming year. Now, obviously we're not in the locker room, and so we can speculate otherwise, but like there's a reason why Duke's been aggressive in this portal, and there's going to be talent upgrades in some of these areas. And yeah, I think, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, bowl game or bust is kind of the lower standard. I think Duke is feeling like the 8 wins or more. 8 wins is like the floor. And so that's my perspective from talking to people inside the program. So
I would just say from my standpoint, looking at it, it's really hard to gauge right now on who we're going to get in the second window of the portal and who leaves possibly. I think once we get the pieces to the puzzle kind of together as we get to the summer, we may be able to gauge it a little bit better, because we'll be able to see other people's stuff too. We'll see the other teams and how they set up and their portal work. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with going 7-8 wins every year. I'd love to see us be consistently at 10 wins, but 7 and 8 is nice. Going to a bowl game every year, traveling right after Christmas has always been fun. And it's, Duke is actually where they should, getting to where we think they should be. We went from 0-12 and 0-11 for so many years where we couldn't sniff a bowl. Now the fact that we get to see a bowl and think about a bowl is a great thing, and it's something that's becoming a fun thing to do every year.
Well, and the other thing that I saw the other day is that Duke ranked, I think, fourth in the least amount of players lost in the transfer portal so far. So that's going to mean a lot heading into spring ball. Hopefully, we don't lose a lot heading into the second transfer window. Shouldn't, based off of everything that we've heard and seen. But this is setting up Duke very nicely because you don't have a whole bunch of new players coming in that are going to have to learn the playbook, learn the schemes. Like, you have the core set guys who already know Brewer and Packey's way of thinking and playing. You've got a few incoming transfers in some key areas, don't get me wrong, but the freshmen as well. Those will be the ones that they focus on to get them built into what the program's all about.
Yeah, to go off you, Brian, the portal, we did lose, we have lost a few. But the one area of concern for, obviously, so far going into the second portal window is wide receiver. I mean, we're losing Jordan Moore and Eli Pankel. Duke obviously got Andrew Anthony in the portal, but assuming Duke's still targeting a few more receivers on top of tight end. I know Duke kicked the tires on Tulane's tight end. So there's other pieces too that we lost in graduation and that Duke needs to fill out, because it is nice. Mensa is going to be great. Running back room is fine. Returning the O-line, which is huge, right? And then obviously the defense, you're returning Wes Williams. Hopefully Terry Moore is all right. And then Chandler Rivers, and then linebacker unit with the best recruiting class coming to Duke. So it is exciting times, but I do expect some bumps in the road this season right now.
I do want to clarify one quick thing and then we can move on the O-line, because someone asked on Twitter and I gave wrong information. So Caleb Krings was only a 1 year. I thought he had a second year of eligibility, but he was only a 1 year eligibility guy. And so I believe, once again, you had 6 guys really, because if you add Micah Sahakian in there, so Micah will kind of fill that role, and the Duke will return, 5 offensive linemen that started and some last season, and then not to mention other guys, and not to say they wouldn't be looking at the portal, to upgrade, but just to clear that up.
All right, and speaking to the portal, actually, George Bunn asked, are there any positions that still need to be addressed in the transfer portal?
I was pointing to Josh and Brian was pointing to me. I just said wide receiver, probably a couple of them, and then tight end, and then depth pieces wherever Duke feels. I feel like linebacker, you could always get one, but Bradley Gompers, I think, is a guy that could play right away for Duke. He's like Peyton Wilson, really 2.0. He's unbelievable. And then we know Bryce Davis, and then Duke has actually a talented wide receiver coming into town too. So, and the running back room. But Josh, is there anything else that I'm missing there?
No, I mean, I believe you're gonna always look for depth, in the trenches. And so I believe Duke will look for depth in the trenches. And then tight end one, I think, has got to be, I say one. We all know, Jeremiah Hazley is tight end one, but there you need 2 tight end ones, basically. And so I think you'll see that. Yeah, I mean, other than that, there's no surprises here, in what Duke's going to go after. They're going to have to get another wide receiver. And you mentioned linebacker. I think that's an interesting one, because I think Duke could make it without adding another linebacker and be fine, completely fine. But I also could see, hey, let's look at another linebacker for depth there. But anyway, I think you're looking for starter type talent for tight end to go along with Jeremiah. You're probably looking for starter type talent at wide receiver, even though the kid from Harvard and Andrew Anthony, those guys are going to be starter type players. So, in a weird way, it's like it would be great to add this, that, and the third, but except for the tight end room, only having one main guy there with Jeremiah, I think you could go into the season like you are right now and still be confident that you'd be a good team. So,
all right, Ronnie Hornaday said wanted to know, do we have a list of the early signees that will be on campus for the spring game? I know I saw a list online. I don't know if we have it right now. Josh is getting it. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Well, we did have it last week, but then someone had to
We
bow out
have
at the
it. We
last
have it.
minute.
I know how to look in the email and see an inbox. I'm sorry. I know it's tough, guys. No, let's see here. The list of oh no, that was the portal guys that I had up. He's asking about freshmen. Is that right, Jamie?
Yeah, early, yeah, I think he's talking about freshmen. Yeah,
So
I think
yes,
I saw Bryce Davis, and I know
for sure
Gompers
Bryce
is not
Davis.
Gompers is not going
Gompers
to be
is
on
not.
campus. Yeah.
Let me find this link. I think this is a link we shared in the text, right? In the text thread.
Yeah. It was from Adam. It was from Adam Rowe, actually.
It was from Rowe. Yeah. Hold on. We got this. I think. Oh well. Well, we know Gompers isn't. We know Bryce Davis is. Julius Columbus is. Dan Mahan is. Yep. Those are the ones that stick out to me like at the very beginning. Man, we share a lot of links, guys. Good Lord. Let's see. Oh, I was gone this past week too. That's also why. Anyway, I don't have the exact list. I believe it is on 24/7. Adam has put that list out, and so that is readily accessible. In fact, we can tweet that list out, and it'll be there. But Bradley Gompers is the main one who's not on campus as of right now. To not answer the question.
Well, we gave him a couple. At the Duke of QP, this past season was a huge success given the situation we were in. He wants us to rank our top moment from the season, whether on the field or off of it, if it was two birds thrown into the air. And we have a couple that are the same questions. At Bentley Weeks, I was curious to know each of our favorite moments in Wallace Wade. At CLX MPS 27, wanted to know our favorite play of the season. And he says, thanks for the great year, guys. I'll go ahead and go since I'm unmuted, because our favorite play of the year could be all the same thing too. I mean, for me, it's the Trey Freeman interception to seal the deal against Carolina in Wallace Wade Stadium. So, I mean, that's an easy one for me, but somebody else might have a different one. So anybody else?
I've got a different one. I think the play of the year for me was the run from SMU. Crap! I just caught myself in something. I got 1A and a 1B. Ozzie catching the guy as he was should have scored a touchdown on the sideline from 75 yards away, and then the other one would be the NC State play on the pick that took out of Pankel's hand, and Jake Taylor ran him down. You're talking about two guys who are not supposed to be able to run that fast against guys who should run that fast, and they both got caught in the situation. And to me, that goes back to the Dwayne Carter of a couple of years ago, not giving up. That's what these guys, David Feely has done this. He's got this mentality. These guys don't ever give up on any play, and you got to love it.
Jamie, I was going to say, I agree with you about the UNC one, but the reason why I love that one the most is because, like, the previous 2 years, Duke with Elko seemed like they always had that lead, and then the defense needed that one stop, and then it was just a heartbreak loss. Obviously, the Notre Dame game, but even the 2 UNC losses that they had. And so for Trey Freeman to make that interception where it felt like UNC was going to pull off another UNC comeback against Duke was massive, and that was an exciting finish to the rivalry and a big win.
I would say, moment/game was the beat down of Florida State. I know Florida State was down this year, but after 32 years of trying, Duke finally got a victory against Florida State. And that was one of the last things to check off in the last 3 years. One of the things that Mike Elko could not do that Manny Diaz was able to do, regardless, again, of how FSU's program was. So it was finally good to get in the win column. But yes, Florida State fans, we know it's 31-1 or whatever the matchup is, because I know we didn't play FSU every year. But still, finally, checking off the FSU win was a good moment.
All right, so we got some honorable mentions that you guys missed. And then I'm going to give an away game one and then a home game one. We missed the Jordan Moore catches. So the crazy catch at Northwestern, where he was like behind him and it was on the ground basically. The catch at NC State, where he like dunked on the guy, and then of course the Miami catch, the OBJ one hand on a 4th down, when the game was still tight. That was just a major. So anyway, that's honorable mention. So my away game is at Northwestern, Chandler Rivers, 4th down and 1 or whatever it was, 3rd down and 1, and an 8-yard tackle for loss in the 4th quarter that ends up sending it to overtime, or maybe it was in overtime and sealed the game. I think that's what it was. It sealed the game in overtime. So I'm going to go that one on and away, and then a home game. So it's around the Carolina game, but it's not the Trey Freeman pick. And I think this is like a semi shout out to the production crew and the digital team led by Brent and Zach and their team and their crew. And that is the halftime speech that Manny Diaz gave the Carolina game. I thought that was awesome. I thought that the guys capturing that speech and putting it out there was really cool. And it's once again, it's an inside look to the program that I'm so happy that Mike Elko and Manny Diaz in these last 3 seasons have allowed us to kind of have. So those are mine.
And that was like one of the best halftime speeches I've ever heard. I still go back on YouTube and pull that up and just like listen to it. I would have ran down on the field and played for that guy after that speech. Of course, I would have tripped on my way down, fell down the stairs, and then I would have been a play of the year for a different reason. But yeah.
Hey, Jamie, you want to read Jordan's honorable mention? I think you should do that. You should do the honors.
Jordan says his honorable mention is the
No,
Riley Leonard.
This is you, Jamie. This has got to be you because you were the one smack talking on Twitter.
Honorable mention is Riley Leonard, 1st down versus UGA.
The flip, the going all out for the 1st down.
And
those are all good. They're all great.
Yeah. And we were watching that.
Well, Jordan, every play Riley Leonard makes is great.
Yeah. I mean, every single play.
Touched from God himself.
It's like the two teams that were playing were the most saved teams. Like they were the most church going teams. Like, and Riley Leonard was the leader of that. Right
up Josh's alley over there.
Yeah, as a man and former pastor and ministry kind of a guy, I do wonder like what do they expect the Lord to do when they're praying and they're praying, like both, like, it's kind of like it's almost as if he says, hey guys, go out and play the football game and the better team will win the football game. Who knows? I'm just throwing that out there.
Hey, but Riley Leonard will always be my guy. Y'all know how I feel about Riley Leonard.
We might lose Josh. He is so giddy that his face froze.
If y'all are watching on YouTube right now, that's like the greatest freeze frame ever.
He's got my here, but I'm frozen.
Yeah, he's got my internet from last year. Move on, Jamie.
Got that dial up. That's that North Durham dial up. At PD Duke 85, old Peter Dodge. So it was reported towards the end of last season that Malik came to Duke with a lower body injury that could possibly interfere with his on-field mobility. And also the fact that he ran like a baby deer in headlights. But anyways, is there any chat regarding the health of the status of Darian Mensah? By the way, regardless of the score, they had a great time in Jacks and see everyone soon. And I hadn't heard anything about Mensah. I mean, have you, Jordan?
About Mensah, like his run game?
Like, just, I guess he's wondering about chatter about his health. I think he's healthy as far as I know.
Yeah, I think Mensah's healthy. And then obviously it was always alleged about Malik Murphy, but Murphy obviously was never going to run the ball at Duke, whether he was healthy or not. It just was not in the cards for him. He was 6'5", 240, but he ran legit 5 times, and 2 of them were great. 2 of them, the touchdown NC State. That was honestly, that's honorable mention. One of the most honorable mention plays right there was his keeper against NC State and juking the guy to get in the end zone because nobody was expecting it, and he snuck in. So I'll give him a shout out there. But yeah, his run game was never going to be on par of what Mensa can be at Duke.
And dude, how did we not mention the game-winning touchdown pass to Wake Forest too? I just thought about that.
Jesus,
I mean,
we're gonna get cooked. We're gonna get cooked. Jamie,
Yeah.
it's on you. I'm just a guest here. I'm not a very special guest anymore.
I was trying. I'm not trying
special guest.
I'm not trying to slight Malik or anything. So let's got to mention that on the play of the year too. Malik with the pass to Jordan Moore to win the game there in Wake Forest, and Josh and Scott got to see that. At Bleed in Duke Blue, who was one player that surprised each of you the most this season? He said can be for good or bad, and I got similar questions. Lane Phipps, if you could pick one person from each side of the ball that showed the most upside for next year, who would it be? Lane also said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott. So will you guys show any remorse for not dancing to Every Time We Touch at home? Maybe SMU could have been a victory if y'all would have gotten into it.
Well, here I'll go since Jamie's unmuted, but we're not going to let him start us off because Jamie does this thing and takes like 7 players, and then we don't have anybody left.
I'll take the whole team. They impressed me.
Yeah, yeah. So I will say let's give one on each side of the ball. So this is like who impressed us, and kind of in the same vein of like who could possibly be really good next year, right? So I'm going to say on the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to go Kamari Robinson. Stepped in at defensive back. And some of the games really, played the fourth quarter was really, cornerback 2 for a lot of the time behind Chandler. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I am going to go, let's see here. I'm going to show some love to my O-line. And I'm going to go Matt Craycraft. I like what Craycraft did at center. Here's the thing. You never had an issue with like snaps. Like there was, and a lot of times a center, I mean, you don't hear much about it until they make a mistake, right? Something's wrong. And so I'm gonna say Matt Craycraft had a great season, and will continue to get better.
I will say my offensive guy is Peyton Jones. That was a guy that we saw at versus Miami what he could do as a receiving threat out of the backfield and then running the ball. His best game in a Duke uniform, and then you took my guy Kamari. So that stumped me right there, Josh. I will go in the trenches. I'll go Preston Watson, coming in as a freshman and really stole some snaps that Duke needed, and his snap count grew as the season went along. And he's a guy now that's going to be a dude for Duke in years to come.
All right, I'll go next. On defense, to me, we went off the rails of the crazy train with Ozzie all year. Loved Ozzie. Still trying to find that extra year for him. Then offensively, that's a tough one. I'll go this way. I really wish Jeremiah had not gotten hurt. Obviously, I think Jeremiah would have had a great year. So I'm going to stay in that same room. I think Jake Taylor, as the season went on, got better and better and better and better. I mean, would like to have seen a couple more catches, maybe used a little bit more. But as the season went on, he did a great job for a guy who had not sniffed the field and done anything. So that's awesome.
I'll go next. Defensive side, Alex Howard came in, transferred in, did a phenomenal job at linebacker. Wish he was here another year, but what can you say? I mean, thanks for the year. On offense, I'm going to go alongside Josh on the O-line. How about Brian Parker? He played phenomenal, and Josh actually retweeted this out on our Duke football Twitter. He did not allow a sack in 515 snaps, which is fantastic. So we're looking forward to Mr. PFF, as he's called. That's who posted about it. But looking forward to seeing him. I mean, as far as next year goes, I'm trying to think, because I thought Star Thomas was my honorable mention on offense as well for players that impressed after Jaquez went down. Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie. See what happens when you don't go first? Yeah. How's that feel?
I should have just kept talking. Jeez.
You know what, Jamie? I'm gonna yield my time and give it to you. Go right on ahead, buddy.
All right. Let's see. On offense, I'm going to go with the entire offensive line. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But the entire offensive line was great this year, and we did think that was a weakness coming into the year, and they were very strong. So shout out to them guys. I'm gonna actually go with Queso Brown. I think that he has a potential to have a big year next year. He had some issues in the return game a little bit, and maybe fielding some balls when he should have let them hit, or whatever. But he's got that big play capability, and I think that eventually he's going to be one of our best receivers, and could be as early as next year. On defense, I'm going to go with Terry Moore. Terry Moore had a tremendous year. Unfortunately, got injured in the bowl game, or injured on an interception return that should have been a touchdown. To be honest, or it looked like it was going to be a touchdown. The one where Jordan blacked out and didn't see the rest of the game. But Terry Moore and Queso Brown for me. Now I've lost my spot on my questions. This is an interesting question. Maybe for Jordan or Josh. I don't know what just happened.
It's the Scott. No, Scott. No,
Lord.
It's the Scott Mellon show.
No idea what I just did. I hit a button and it went full screen, and I'm like, oh crap.
I was like, that's
Scott, it's all you, bud. We're gonna log off, and you just go ahead and handle things.
Hey, somebody had to make a mistake. I took one for the team.
Lord. Oh man. Landon Williams, we kind of talked about this, so I don't know. I'm gonna skip that one. He asked for some guys that can be some key contributors for next season that we have not seen play yet. So actually, we didn't answer that. So if anybody's got anything, guys, key contributors for next season that we have not seen play yet. So
this could open
Bryce
up
Davis
freshman as well. So, yeah, so go ahead,
Bryce
Jack,
Davis.
take that one.
I'll say Bryce Davis and Gompers.
I'm gonna say Chase Tyler, freshman wide receiver who, I think the potential was there for sure this season. And I think I'm going to go with Chase Tyler, and then I'm going to mute myself before I start laughing.
Jordan, are you good, bud? You had to get up. You sat back down, having to wave your eyes.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Woo. I would. I'm going to go Drill Anthony.
What the hell? Jordan pulled a me. Jeez. This might be our best episode yet.
That was hilarious. I'm sorry. That was hilarious. Scott's face was priceless on YouTube. If you do not watch this, you don't know what I'm talking about, but that was so funny. Andrew Anthony is my player to watch next year. I am totally blacked out again like it's a Terry Moore interception.
Scott, your turn.
I mean, obviously I need to get an IT guy to teach me how to use a computer.
Hands off the keyboard and the mouse, Scott.
I mean, it's funny. Everybody gets lost in the comments and starts losing it. So I was trying to type something in and accidentally hit the wrong key, and there we go. That's why I haven't typed anything in the thing, because I'm afraid to touch anything right now. But let's see. Next season, like I said, I'm really excited to see what Jeremiah does next season. As tight end 1, I really think there's a great chance for him to have a great season. And I think the offense will get opened up a whole lot more this next season too. So that'll give us a chance to see a little bit more of what Brewer had in mind, because I don't think we got to see what he wanted to use last year with what we had.
Oh, that's me. Okay, at B Porus 1. Are there any, and Josh might know some about this, are there any physical infrastructure upgrades coming up next for the program? Is there any talk about a football operations facility?
Yeah, so the only thing that I know of is that, the plan was for the Devil's Deck to become a permanent structure. And I've heard that is still in the works, but they're just awaiting some things around that. So I think I know for sure, Duke upgraded the locker room, which was a public thing, and then the third floor of the Yo is the whole floor is now like a players lounge, players areas where they do recruiting during the home game weekends, and there's like chill areas, there's game ping pong tables and all types of games everywhere, and so that's been a huge upgrade as well for Duke on the inside of the Yo there. And the only thing I would say that could definitely use an upgrade, and I know we still think of the Blue Devil Tower as being new, but the Blue Devil Tower could use a little bit of a facelift on the inside, like branding upgrades and maybe some just some little upgrades there. I'm not saying that in any sort of a I know that they're going to do that. I'm just thinking of potential things, but no, I've not heard of anything football operations wise. But the football staff over the last 3 seasons has expanded for sure. They've expanded the number of people on staff and support roles. And so at some point in time, they're going to have to, house those people for work. And so that's actually a great question, Brian.
Players lounge, huh? You think people would like to see that?
Maybe. Oh, and the little outdoor basketball court. They got like an outdoor dry bar area too with TVs. So yeah, as soon as March hits, it's going to be a spot for the players for sure.
All right. At Drew Chish, our guy Drew, any new segments or changes to the podcast to look forward to this fall? He says our pod is ideal as is, not suggesting changes are needed. So what I'm reading here is Drew says that we suck and we need to be better.
I got one. It's a Scott cam for here on out. Just somebody at the control room, no matter what happens in this episode or for future episodes, it could be at the 36-minute mark. You just got to pan on Scott and go from there.
Yep. I like it. The random off the cuff Scott cam. And no, I actually have one. To be honest, Drew, we've not yet had our kind of end of the year powwow dinner where we really talk through our plans for next season. But I had I was actually thinking about this earlier this weekend, and I would love to see one segment where it's like the rant of the week, and one of us has something that we need to get off our chest about, whether it's a player, a situation in the game, the whole overall, maybe Twitter fan base, Facebook fan base. We will not get derogatory with names or anything like that, but maybe a rant of the week, sponsored by Scott Medlin, would be a good segment. So anyway,
that would be a perfect time for a selfie cam moment.
There you go.
Now, if you want to see me do that,
the rant of the week, you get the stage. Rant of the week, you get it. We go to yours, listen, and then you get to have your rant.
I would sign up for that. Now, me being on camera part the whole time, not so much, but yeah.
So Brian Porras also, Drew, he sent us a DM with some ideas as well, and so we are just speaking frankly with you guys. We are going to take a look at it, the structure, how we do things, and make sure we want to stay we want you guys to keep coming back every week, and so we don't want to get so monotonous, and so we will definitely address it, and we want to make sure that we do the best that we can. So great question.
All right, last but certainly not least, I got kind of several questions from Regina, all the way from Cali. We saw Regina in the Jacksonville at the bowl game. She says, first, please thank the guys she wanted to thank the guys who stepped into a bigger role in the bowl. She says not just Beelan, but also freshmen like Luke Mergo, Tyshawn Reed, and Kendall Johnson. Why couldn't Duke's defense stop Ole Miss's offense? That's a great question. But Ole Miss was, once again, absolutely loaded. I mean, that was a very good football team. That was a big part of the problem. But there were some near misses, some missed tackles, some things that could have been cleaned up. But Ole Miss is just flat out good, in my opinion. She says, can Coach Infante coach up the special teams now that we've seen some key areas where special teams needed better preparation? Anybody want to take that?
I'll go first. Look, the 2 games that Duke's defense got torched in this season were two really good quarterbacks in Cam Ward and Jackson Dart. It just is what it is. Sometimes it's the Jimmies and Joes, and it just shows that Ole Miss's ones just were better than Duke's ones. It was what it was, and there's not much you could have done about it in scheming. Duke played their game plan. Duke was aggressive in the game like they were all year, and then Ole Miss exploited that early, so the Duke tried to go more conservative. Ole Miss exploited that, and it was just Ole Miss had Duke's number as while they're on offense. Look, Lane Kiffin, he is who he is. Obviously, we know his character, but he's a hell of a coach, an offensive mind, and you saw that on display. And then obviously you saw his character at the end of the game on display as well. But I just think they had a great offensive game plan.
Yeah, I would say too, they very easily, had they not lost the Kentucky game, they very easily are in the playoff. They are also, I think, potentially could have been in that like semifinal, where maybe like where Georgia wound up being. So I think we have to understand that we played between a top 5 and a top 10 team in the country. And yeah. So that's my explanation for why we couldn't stop them. And I think Brian mentioned it earlier. There are certain plays throughout a game that you're like, man, if that play goes differently, maybe the whole vibe shifts. And nothing against him. We're not calling him out because we love him, but like the Alex Howard interception, we actually ran into Alex at Buc-ee's on the way home. And I was like, man, I know. He was like, dude, that ball was like right in my hands. And, he hates it worse than anybody. And so anyway, but little plays like that, you're looking like, could the momentum begin to shift and maybe do capitalize? But, at the end of the day, you're still hang your head high there. But yeah, they absolutely outplayed us for sure. And by the way, shout out to Regina.
Oh yeah, she's the best. And she goes on to say, have we caught up on Mensa's games last season? And I will say about this, I do have some friends that live just outside of New Orleans, and they've watched Tulane play quite a bit, and they were very impressed with Mensa and really, really liked him. And he was apparently a fan favorite down there at Tulane. And I think from what my friend was saying, that he started like 3rd on the depth chart and came in and just took over the starting role like immediately. He had a big year. And also Regina wants Jordan to do a film breakdown on Mensa the way he does for Duke basketball.
So I would love to do a film breakdown on Mensa, but I have synergy for college basketball, so I get the access of actual coaches that have the film and stuff. If there's a college football coach that has a login they want to give me and I can see Mensa's plays, and absolutely, I'd love to do it. But I can't really do that, unfortunately, with college football. If I could, I would have done all of Duke's games this past year.
Yeah, the only game I watched was the bowl game. And that honestly wasn't his best game of the season, but for sure. But the tools are there, and don't get lost in he only rushed X amount of times for X amount of yards. It's not that I don't think that what attracted Duke to him was like his rushing numbers. I think it's his ability to stay behind the line of scrimmage and extend plays and allow his receivers to get open. I think that's really what, and I'm not comparing him to him in any way, but it's what like Patrick Mahomes does, right? It's like hold the ball, can move around and not get sacked. And then, oh, by the way, I don't know if you guys knew this, there's a tight end, number 87 for the Chiefs, that happens to get open really well when he's got 8 seconds to run around, right? So like, I think that's really what Duke was looking for there. And it obviously has the ability to run, Mensa does, but it's not like Duke's like, oh, we want to find a running quarterback. It was like, no, they just need somebody that can hang around in the pocket and be mobile enough to let plays develop.
Josh, to go off of that real quick, the one thing too, like Malik Murphy, phenomenal arm, right? Like set the Duke passing touchdown record in a single season. But the one thing he struggled at was when the pressure got to him, he was the worst quarterback in the FBS, to your point of he had a 20% completion percentage when pressured, which was worst in the FBS. Mensa's a guy that when pressured, his legs allow him to extend the play, like you just said, with Pat Mahomes and Kelsey, that Duke really needed some this past year. And I think you're going to see that with Mensa when the pocket breaks down. Can the QB go make a play? Maybe even get 3 yards on a run to make it 2nd and 7, and just little things like that.
Well, and how many times has Duke been on the wrong side of this? Of like it's 3rd and 8, and you cover really well, but the quarterback scrambles and rushes for 8.5 yards and gets out of bounds. So like it'd be nice to be on the good side of that.
I was going to say a 4th and 16.
Yeah. Oh, shut up, man. Oh,
Jordan.
Still
Jeez. And one more, another question from Regina. She wants to know what my 2 sides are with my stakes. So Regina has known for quite some time that I was the winner of the stats game with us. So, and my sides are always a baked potato and a salad. That's what I like with my steaks. So
Jamie is the whitest white guy when it comes to sides.
With a side of diabetes.
Baked potato and a salad. And she's
by
got
the way, we gotta make that happen, guys. We gotta get it together. We gotta do the end of the year dinner. So
actually, I'm free anytime.
Yeah,
well,
I know. We know.
So, she's got one more question, and we're done. Would you rather the team be selected for a more prestigious bowl in which they face a top opponent, or would you rather be selected for a less prestigious bowl in which they're more likely to end the season with a W? To me, it's a toss-up, she says. It's nice to end with a W, and everything about the Military Bowl was a great experience, except she remembers that Brian was stressed out at the tailgate and Scott was fighting a cold. So, and I kind of remember Scott fighting a cold. He was, I think I got sick from it.
And I'm pretty sure Brian was probably stressed at the tailgate. I mean, more than likely. I don't remember specifically. Yeah. Chances are she's correct. Right, Brian?
I'm just like that every Duke game now, especially against Ole Miss. That's probably the biggest.
I think she was talking about was the Ole Miss or was it the military? Oh, were you not in the military bowl?
No, she was talking about the Military Bowl when she said that.
Yeah.
He's always stressed.
Stressed at the military? No, I was having a good time at the Military Bowl.
I don't know. I doubt it.
I believe Regina. So to answer the question, I actually love this question, and I don't know exactly where I stand on it because there is something about getting a win to finish the season. There's something about that last game being a win, no matter who you're playing, and seeing the players and on the positive note, right, for like the final game of the season. But I do also, being a competitor, you want to play the best, and you want to beat the best, and so. That's a great question, but I will say this. While Birmingham was not ideal, it was really cool to go to Birmingham and beat Troy. While the Military Bowl was really cool, to go win a football game and end the season on a win against UCF. So anyway, I think I would lean towards I'd rather have a win.
I can see their point. I just love I think bowl games, obviously outside the CFP, is just a celebration of the season. Obviously, I just think of the Texas A&M game, like the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Obviously, Duke lost that game. It was heartbreaking. But to see Duke on that level, and that was like the first time I ever saw Reese Davis was on the call for a Duke football game, and you had the A crew of ESPN. And it was like, wow, this is special. And even the Sun Bowl, when it was on CBS, though it was a Sun Bowl, you had the A crew on the call. And so when Duke has the A crew on calls, it just feels like that's the environment I love to see Duke in, because it's not a Troy or the Quick Lane Bowl when Duke beat Northern Illinois and stuff. And again, that's no shit. Like, obviously, I loved the winning streak of bowl games because Duke didn't win a bowl game in a long time before that. But I just think the big bowls where you get the hype around it is very fun to be around.
Well, if we're talking prestigious, Gator Bowl, I would say the Pop-Tarts Bowl, because it wasn't that the Citrus Bowl before or something like that.
You would know.
You would think, but I guess not. The Sun Bowl, like you said. Yeah. And even the Holiday Bowl, people are saying is prestigious now, even though it's out on the West Coast. So to narrow it down, would you rather see Duke in one of those four, or would you rather see Duke play in Fenway Park, Bank of America, New York City, bowl games like that. So for the experience, give me the less prestigious one, because more than likely the 5 of us would be there, because we probably wouldn't be in El Paso. We probably wouldn't be in San Diego. We did make it down to Jacksonville, and we, of course, would make it down to Orlando. But yeah, I'm of the notion of in the season on a win, heading to the off season on a high note. That would give guys more of an upbeat feeling heading into the off season and into April for spring ball and whatnot. And you never know, a win in a bowl game could steer a recruit or two to your school that might be on the fence. So
I agree.
Go ahead, Scott.
I would say I agree with almost all of what Brian said, but I will say this much: the best part about losing, if you want to say losing in the game this year, was we beat all the area teams and they didn't win a ball game either. So that's a plus. You can't hear those people from 8 miles away. They were so excited about the guy that's only going to be there for about 9 to 12 months, pumping him up. And who knows, he may quit after the 3rd game after he tells the quarterback to do something. The quarterback's like, nah, I'm good, dude. So, I mean, anytime you losing sucks, but the whole conference lost. So, I mean, I would like to go out with a win, but, you know, it was fun to go to somewhere like Jacksonville. I mean, I would like to go to all the prestigious places, but like Brian said too, I would like to go to Fenway because I think that would be a cool atmosphere to see a game in. I'm not saying I want to go there and freeze my backside off, but I'm saying that would be fun. I mean, it was great to go to the bowl game and it was actually sunny and it wasn't cold. That was even better. So anyway.
Yeah, I will say to the point though about recruiting, you know, Jordan mentioned the 2013 Chick-fil-A Bowl. Duke actually benefited on the recruiting trail from that game, even in a loss. You know, the Singletons, you know, Dylan and DeAndre and others like that. You know, there was a Georgia connection there for a little while, and so I think you can benefit from recruiting no matter what. I think the recruits like to see you on the stage and think like, hey, like we can play the Ole Misses of this world, and you know, Duke may have lost, but I mean, I want to get the competitor in them. It's like I want to be out there. If I was out there, I can make a difference. And so, I think you can play that both ways. I think winning obviously helps, but also being there on the higher stage helps. Is that it?
Yep, that's all she wrote.
Well, thank you on the mailbags this year. For those of you consistently, you know, Tyler, Sam, Regina, QP, that do questions every single week, and I probably missed a couple there. But thank you guys for that. We do want to thank our Iron D sponsor, El Rodeo Mexican Restaurant. I went there earlier today and got the fajitas. But I want to thank them, North Duke Street. They are our Iron D sponsor, and they have an incredible atmosphere, food and drinks, guacamole, whatever you need. They have a private room for larger parties as well. And so if you're looking to get your Mexican food fix, head over. It's about 10, 12 minutes away from campus, North Duke Street, up by Staples, El Rodeo Mexican Restaurant. We want to thank them for being a sponsor throughout the season. Brian, we've got, we have to honor Jamie for winning the preseason predictions. Congrats, Jamie. Congrats.
I'd like to thank everybody that helped get me here. And this is what, my 3rd win in like 4 seasons? Like, golly.
Yeah,
When am I going to get some comp? Like, when am I going to get Jeez. Y'all are like the ACC.
Well, it's kind of like, this is Jamie, though, because remember, Jamie takes the obvious. Like, Jamie's like, his favorite player was Cam Newton on the Panthers. Like, you know, like he's very much an obvious guy. And so that helps you, Jamie, in these types of things. So I'll give you that, you know.
And Jordan was really close to me, by the way, I think. I mean, we were like within, right, Brian? Within.
It's been so long since I've looked at it. I've gone past it. I'm on to 2025.
I think we were really close, if I recall correctly. So.
Yeah. Gift cards in the mail, Jamie.
Yeah. Scott's got a question. Scott, what were you going to ask?
All right. So since we're a week away, who do you have in the Super Bowl and why?
Well, here, wait. Let's do that. Brian, let's do the winner first, and then we do that. I love that. Scott, you want to give the winner first, and then we'll do Super Bowl predictions. The Noah Gray Bowl.
Yeah. So again, I'm
going to put you on, Brian. Hold up. Oh, wait, wrong one.
Oh man, that
I
is
knew
so
that was
great.
coming. That's why I waited for him to do it.
All right, so last year we gave away the matte black Section 17 helmet. This year we're going with the Stormtrooper white, matte white Duke football equipment. Just throwing it out there. That looked good on the field with some Duke logos on there. But as you can see, it's all ready to go. Last year we had to spin a wheel. There was a three-way tie. Big Papa RV came home with the matte black. I thought we were going to have to do that again this year, fellas, but guess what? There was only one person that came out on top who got a lot of the predictions right. I was very, very impressed with this gentleman. So if you're a lady and you entered, I'm sorry, you're out. He is a longtime listener. He's asked a couple of questions this season. And last, Thomas Hutton, congratulations. You, sir, are the winner of the Section 17 Matt White Stormtrooper helmet. We will be reaching out to you so we can get you your helmet. And of course, we will have another helmet to give away next year. And I might have something up my sleeve for next year as well, as far as giveaways and Duke helmets, but I'm going to brainstorm about that. But again, Thomas, congratulations. And thank you to each and every one of you. I think we had a close to 55 entrants this year. So it was great.
Nice. Congrats, Thomas, man. Thomas is a listener every week, interacts with us. And yeah, that's really cool. So we'll get that out to you. Brian, I'm assuming you'll just reach out and get his address and all that kind of good stuff. So that's really cool. Yeah, let's talk Super Bowl, man. That's a good good thought there, Scott. The Super Bowl coming up this coming weekend. Probably not everyone's two teams that everyone really wanted to see, even though I'm not a hater on three-peat, on the pursuit of the three-peat. Something that, by the way, Tom Brady couldn't do. Tom Brady never won 3 in a row. So just FYI on that. So who wants to go first? And what do we say? Let's say who wins. Because I mean the lines and stuff don't really matter. So who do you think's gonna win Sunday?
I'll go. I mean, I'm with Josh too. I don't hate the Chiefs. I don't know why so many people hate the Chiefs, to be honest. I mean, I know that I get they win, but man, I like Andy Reid. How can you not like Andy Reid? Well, Jordan hates the Chiefs. We'll just leave that in the group chat. But anyways, I'm gonna say the Chiefs win. I think they get the 3-peat done. I know people don't want to see it, but I think Mahomes and Tay and Kelsey, they get it done.
That right there is why I will probably be watching little to no NFL Super Bowl this year. I'm a Dallas fan. Jordan is too. Well, no. Jordan entered the transfer portal, so he is looking for options to become a new NFL fan. So I hate the Eagles. Always have, always will. I don't like Tay. I don't like Kermit the Frog. I don't like Bundle Rooski. Great coach though. I'm getting really tired of all these commercials. So it's like someone posted the tweet like what I would like to see happen, and it's the scene in Batman where the field blows up when Heinz Ward is running. So I honestly, I could care less. I was really hoping for the Lions to be in the Super Bowl, as well as I think 98% of the country. But you know what? That's why they play the game every week. So I could care less. So that's my prediction. Go America.
So Brian, you are anti Taylor Swift, Tay. All right. Well,
I actually give my wife a lot of grief. She despises her, so I just mess with her all the time.
So the Swifties listening, Duke Football Talk is anti you, but the Big J and Little J show, we love the Swifties. So if you want to like and subscribe to the Big J and Little J show, but yes, no, I agree. I can't stand. Look, Josh said the Patriots never 3-peat. That's great. Tom Brady was 45 years old and beat Pat Mahomes in the Super Bowl, so he's still my GOAT. But I mean, I guess if Noah Gray gets a touchdown, you know what? Then all the Chiefs to win. But I am in the portal as a fan because Jerry Jones has just lost all my fandom. But I still am anti-Eagles and anti-Chiefs because I wanted the Bills to win and even the Commanders maybe run the table. But I really wanted the Bills to be in the Super Bowl. So I'd rather this be 2-0 and the worst Super Bowl of all time.
All right. So since I brought this up, I'll bring us home. I'm all for not liking the Eagles. I'm all for not liking Tay-Tay. We'll see her 100,000 flipping times. My two things, Andy Reid, great opportunity to beat Philly, who let him go. I think that's a great thing. Plus, I really like Andy Reid as a coach. He's done a great job out there with the Chiefs. And, of course, obviously, Noah Gray. If the Eagles had a Dookie, maybe I'd talk. Gray's the Dookie. Got to see another ring on another Dookie's hand because he's the only shot we've had the last couple of years to get one, so we might as well pull for him while we can, folks.
Yeah, so I actually, Jordan, I don't really have a problem with the Taylor Swift thing. Like, I'm not really mad at a girlfriend going to her boyfriend's football games. I'm cool with it. Like, there's plenty of other girlfriends to go to the boyfriend's football games. So I do think it's stupid that the NFL tries to like monetize it, which is that's the frustrating part. But yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs. And yeah, I do have two teenage daughters, and actually one of them does not like Taylor Swift at all. The other one kind of does. And I do know a fair amount of her music. But anyway, so I'm gonna go Chiefs. I think three-peat. I'm here for the three-peat. I don't like the way Mahomes, if you can flop in football, he's figured out a way to do it. I don't like that per se, but I respect his game. To me, there are two quarterbacks in the conversation for the GOAT, and Brady is the GOAT, but there's only one other one in the conversation, and it's Mahomes. And so I'm not going to hate on greatness, and so we'll see. And honestly, let's be real. He's done this with Travis Kelce kind of sitting in the garage half the season and like no other legitimate threats. I mean, Hollywood Brown just came back. Xavier Worthy, good but not great. You know what I mean? They like take all his weapons away, and my man still wins. So,
Hey, and don't worry, guys. If Mahomes wins his third in a row, Bryce Young is coming for him.
Jamie, I like that.
The new GOAT.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I was going to say, Travis Kelce. Look, it's in the script. Everything's scripted. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to pull that side. But we know what's going to happen. He's going to score a touchdown in the Super Bowl, or he's going to have 80 plus to 100 plus yards receiving. He's going to propose Taylor Swift at the end, retire. Then it's just going to be all in the media. But I do like Travis Kelce. But now that we're talking about pro Noah Gray, look, Travis Kelce broke all of our hearts in 2012 in the Belk Bowl. He scored the go-ahead touchdown in the Belk Bowl to beat Duke. I think it was the go-ahead touchdown after the Snead fumble, and that broke our backs. So it was tough to see that happen in 2012. So, Noah Gray win. Travis Kelce is going to go off and marry Taylor Swift and be Super Bowl MVP.
Yes. All right. Well, we about ready? It's been a good. We're going to do our final thoughts now, Brian.
And now it's time for my final thoughts. So we're wrapping things up. As always, we give our thank yous and our shout outs before we wrap up another season. So who wants to go first? I'm unmuted, but I will open it up. See, Jamie, that's how you be unselfish. You let others talk before you just start talking.
There's an I in team. It's hidden in the a-hole.
Yeah, no, there's an I in Jamie. We know that.
Yeah, there's an I in Jamie.
Go ahead, Jamie. Go ahead.
Or as Kobe Bryant would say, there's not an I in team, but there is a ME in that.
KO in midair.
Jamie, seriously.
Oh, did I say that?
Good
did
Lord,
I say that out loud?
dude.
I thought I was muted.
You take a month off. Good God. Jeez.
That's my bad.
Maybe Jamie should just not say any thank yous because he might just start rapping or something. No, go ahead.
Tyler.
Go ahead. No, you go first so we can.
Tyler, bleep that up.
We'll have Tyler
bleep that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just thank you to everybody this year that I got a chance to meet some first-timers that I'd never met, and just had fun at all the games. And thanks for listening. Thanks for sending in the questions. I always enjoy going through the mailbag. Always enjoy the people that always have fun trying to make me laugh. Duke of QP, I'm looking at you. But anyways, thanks for a great season and looking forward to next year already.
I'll go ahead and go next. Yeah, thank you to everybody that listens each week and puts up with our stuff and enjoys it. And takes the hour to hour and a half or more to listen. We appreciate that. Thank you to all the seniors and the families and stuff that we're going to be saying bye to. I hate to see you go, but we enjoyed your time there, especially the guys that were just here for the 1 year. Looking forward to a great off season. I know Jordan's going to promote himself for a minute, so I'm going to promote myself for a second. I'm looking forward to college baseball season starting here in 2 weeks. Going to be trying to do a little bit more than I did last year with Duke baseball, hopefully, but I'll be back doing that once my basketball season ends, which is about 3 weeks from now. So looking forward to doing that. Looking forward to hopefully bring some content to you guys on my personal side. So, but man, thank y'all for taking the time seriously of putting up with us. We enjoy it. And, glad to be here for everybody. I'm glad to make you laugh, and pray to God you don't have to look at the selfie cam of me anymore, because, Lord, that was the worst thing in the world that happened to you. So I'm apologizing. See, there it is again. Go ahead and log off now, because that would be the best thing you could do.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
I'm very appreciative of Scott, the selfie cam. Holy crap. That's probably the most I've laughed in a long time. I already had to tweet out an apology. So if you're watching this, you understand. If you're listening to this, I'm sorry. You got to watch it on YouTube. I'm plugging Duke FB. I'm plugging Section 17 podcast on all podcasts right now. I watched it on YouTube to understand this. But yeah, I want to thank all you guys, you four, for always having me on. It's been awesome growing, to know you guys, growing our friendships over the course of the last, 3.5 years. And so it's been fantastic. I really appreciate it. I love coming on here to chop it up with you guys. And Jacksonville is great. And it was a pleasure meeting a lot of Duke fans in Jacksonville, and players, parents, and everything. It was a fantastic experience. The game really, I'm not trying to sound like a fair weather fan or anything. It really didn't mean anything to me, because I knew getting there was the most important step in year one for Manny Diaz, winning 9 games. And so I kind of cherished the moment of being in the Gator Bowl more than the actual outcome of that game. So it was a great year. I'm not going to cuss, so I'm not going to be bleeped out this time. It was a heck of a year for year one with Manny Diaz, and I appreciate you guys as always. And I can't wait to see you soon so we can talk about this at the dinner for Jamie.
I'll go. Okay. So yeah, I just want to thank each and every body that has interacted with us. And on a personal note from me, if I was not as outgoing as I am in these episodes, if I was not as cheerful as what you might think I was, my apologies. That is not what I intended to come across as. But as Regina said it, right before a game, I'm that guy. I overthink the outcome. I'm not even a player. I'm not a coach. I'm not part of the staff. But also, for a lot of you who knew, these last 4 years for me and my family have been the toughest years that we've ever gone through. So I'm getting deep here, and my apologies, but I just wanted to say this. It has taken a lot for me to overcome that personally, and I'm getting there. And I'm hoping that the next time I see each and every one of you at the tailgate, I'm a little bit more upbeat, I'm a little bit more positive, and I speak with you a little bit more. So again, my apologies if I came across as sour, dour, and not really wanting to communicate. So just wanted to lay that out there. But thank you to Wes Pickle. Thank you to Coach David Feely. Thank you to Ian Christie of the grounds crew, to the Duke SID staff. You guys took us to another level this year with our behind the scenes. We're hoping to continue that trend as we go into 2025. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from those videos. Tyler, our producer, and I, we love to go in there, and we love to pull the curtain back essentially on this program and show you guys what these players get to do when it's not game day. So thank you for the positive feedback on that. And thank you to you four. It's been another good season. It really has. Obviously, winning helps with our numbers. Winning helps with our subscribers, with our views and our comments and our mailbag. But, the trajectory of this program continues to go up. I don't see any reason why we're not doing this episode next year in 2026 saying the same thing, if not better outcome for this team. So thank you to each and every one of you. we couldn't do it without you guys, and we're looking forward to 2025.
Yeah, awesome. And shout out to Hudson for sure. To Harrison, to Harrison for battling for all these years. So anyway, for sure on that. So my thanks first of all to our sponsors. Really cool this year. We expanded our sponsors, and you guys are awesome. Matt, Andres at El Rodeo, Jamie, not Holt, Jamie Hagler at Hometown Air, and then our connection, Josh over at Hometown Apparel or Home Field Apparel. Sorry. But shout out to them. Shout out to you guys. Really enjoy doing this, and I actually appreciate the character of like every Monday night at 8:00. Like we clear our calendars and we do this. A lot of people want a podcast, and Jordan, I know you understand this, and you're in the podcast world. A lot of people have good intentions, good ideas, and are probably super talented at what they do, but like actually doing it and like setting the time out and getting it done is oftentimes the challenge. And so shout out to you guys for just being consistent and making that happen. So that's it. And then the other one for me, shout out to obviously the players, seniors, graduates, transfers, everybody. It's a little bit different this year because there was so much in and out with the coaching change. Shout out to them. And then I will say this is my we these locker room leaders, Terry Moore, Chandler Rivers, Wes Williams, and other, among others that are coming back to Duke this year. Duke fans, we better appreciate it. We better understand that they were aggressively sought after by bigger programs. And listen, and I'm going to do this. I'm buying a Chandler Rivers Nike official NIL jersey, right? I'm going to support these guys in every way that I can. And we need to be extremely excited and happy about their decisions to be loyal to Duke. And so like really cool. And I'm appreciative to those guys. And so, yeah, that is it for on our end. Anything else, Brian?
Forgot to mention, thanks to producer Tyler. He's the one that makes us sound good. He edits when he needs to. He's going to be doing some editing after this episode. Sorry, Tyler. We just couldn't control Jamie's mouth. And to Laura Murphy, our photographer, she got some amazing shots this year. I mean, players reach out to her, families reach out to her. She does a very good job. Laura, if you're listening or watching this, I know I give you a lot of grief. It's all out of love, but you do a fantastic job with getting the photos. But I think that's everyone. Did we forget anyone? Last call and thank yous or all right, Jordan, thank you for coming on again. We know that you've got a lot going on with your takes, your
Brian,
breakdowns.
you did miss one.
Oh,
Brian did miss one.
Who?
Freddie Hodges.
Freddie. Yes, Freddie, I'm so sorry, bud. Yeah, Fred, it has been a lot of fun doing bowl projections with Freddie the entire season. If it was Josh, he would do it week 12 with Freddie, and that would be it.
And I'd get them all right.
You would. But it was fun. Freddie has been great. We've gotten to know him very well. Couldn't see him in the Gator Bowl. He had other things pop up, but be on the lookout. Might have a bowl projection after spring practice. You never know. Oh, my goodness. Just joking. But, again, another episode has come to an end. Season-ending episode for the 2024 season. But don't worry, fans. We'll be back in a couple of months. We're going to recharge the batteries. Get ready for spring ball April 19th. They have officially set the date of April 19th. We do not know the time yet, but that will come as we get closer. But it's been a great season. We are looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible, April 19th in Wallace Wade for an actual spring game. We haven't heard anything else. Last year it was a little off because we didn't have enough offensive linemen. But this year we will have spring ball. But that'll do it for us. For Scott Medlin, for Jamie Holt, for Jordan Mann of the Big J and Little J podcast, and for Josh Cox. There we go. I'm your host, Brian Kennedy, and Tyler Witt, our producer, and this has been another episode of the Duke Football Talk Section 17 podcast.